Good evening, Talita, and thank you so much for being part of our podcast. To begin, could you briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what brought you to study emotional connections with immigrant children in early childhood education?
Yeah, thank you for having me in this. I'm Talita Primolan. I finished my Master of Education here in Kamloops, Canada. And I did as article the literature review on the emotional connection between children and the early childhood educator to explore how this connection is important for their academic development, their learning, because I am as a mother of immigrant children and also I worked with children. um, I realized they have a lot of gaps in their adaptation that impacting their lives and how they can connect with another children, how they can learn at the preschool. And I start to study that to give some insights for educator, how they can improve this interaction, how they can make the kids feel better. And that's why I choose this topic.
Thank you so much. So, for our listeners who may not have already read your article yet, could you please
Mhm.
give us a brief overview of what your study explores?
Yeah, study explore in a deep way the role of educator with children between 0 to 5 years old, to understand what happened beyond the process of adaptation. Of course, any children anywhere need some time to get ready to go to school and separate from their parents or caregiver. But when they immigrate for another country, they need more support because everything is new for them, the language, the environment, the culture. And my study, I did for give some insight for the educator how they can improve their process in cities that receive a lot of immigrants as Canada.
Thank you so much. So, um, what made you focus specifically on emotional connection between educators and immigrant children rather than more traditional topics like curriculum or academic outcomes?
Yeah. My article is based on attachment theory and also ethics of care that look deeply how you can create a connection with the kids for them developing at school. Which type of behavior the educator could do and improve this connection that for the child to feel safe, to start to learning. Um, and explore more about like emotional facts than just like if they can learn or not another language. If they can learn letters, then can learn numbers. they this process is more than academic. This process comes beyond like your emotional feelings. If you feel ready, you will learn better than if your emotional is not good.
Thank you so much. So, when you were doing the research, you must have already reviewed lots of studies. So, what were some of the most important insights that stood out to you?
Yeah, I two studies got my attention. A lot of them give some good insights, but one gave some real strategies, some small things that sometimes we as educator forget, because we have like a lot of kids in the same time, and you need to care about all of them, and you forget like small stuffs, like look their eyes, staying in the same level, speak with calm, uh, don't give pressure then to explain something when they don't have words to say. Give them their time. And one of the articles from Kellogg et al. 2020 gave these insights to me, and another one from Callis et al. 2021, they gave some insights about how is important create a social inclusion as a foundation for learning. If the kids don't feel belong to that space, if they feel apart or they feel different, they cannot get a good adaptation, they cannot make friends, they can even not learning well.
Thank you. So, from your perspective, what are some of the biggest challenges immigrant preschoolers face when they enter early childhood settings in a new country?
I think the biggest challenge is the sense of belong, feel part of that group of children. Because in that age, it's important for kids to imitate the others, and when they feel they have different behavior or different culture or different custom than the other children's, they don't feel the sense of belong. It is impacting their emotional behavior, that impact how they will learn. I think this is the biggest challenge, create that bridge between the kid and this new place, and that they start like, oh, I belong for this place now, and I can developing better, and I may also feel safe without my parents here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's the same thing for language education because we were always advocating teachers to use multiple languages, no matter we call translanguaging or a plurilingual approach in classroom education. So, on a practical side, what are some small but meaningful things educators can do to help build stronger emotional connections with these children, you think?
Yeah, I think start to understand what is works with each child. You have to work, each child is unique. That thing that works with one maybe doesn't work with another one. And especially when we talk about different culture. I have like two good examples in my experience. One as a mother, in my culture, uh, kids like to touch other people. Kids like hugs for they feel safe. And when I started to tell this from my child teachers that please, if she didn't feel safe, please ask her if she want a hug, and I think she'll be better. And when the teachers start to do that, because this is not common in Canada, and my child start feel safe. But in another side, I when I worked at daycare, I have one a child from Asia that touch is not common there. I understand. And when I start like to get close to her, she was in the adaptation, she was crying a lot. And when I got closer, she starts crying more and more and more because she feels unsafe. And the way I found to connect with her was through the music. I just sat the another side of room, the opposite side, and start singing music to her. And she liked the music and she starts singing with me. And after that, she started to create this bridge with me and allowed me to care of her. And I think the educator has to be open to understand what language work with kids.
I totally agree. And before we get to the end of our podcast today, what is one key message you hope educators and researchers take away from your work?
I wanted to take away the importance of empathy, to understand without judgment, without previous conclusion. When you talk about little kids, it's come first. You have to explore how each human, little human, works better and improve their life, because this in this age will impact for their whole life, the way they will learn, the way they will explore new things. And just be gentle, give your empathy, and give their time to adapt.
Okay, and here's the last question for our podcast today. So, as a researcher and also an educator, what directions do you see for future research in this area?
I think now the researchers will explore more about the emotional, how the emotional things impact in the process of learning. And I hope they can make studies that explore different cultures, how to improve the sense of belonging when you go for a culture that's total opposite to that yours. Explore these that thing that the people see it's a small things today, but create a lot of impact in countries that like Canada that receive a lot of immigrants.
Thank you so much, Talita.
You.
It is a great pleasure having you as our guest in our podcast series as the CJNSE, and we do hope you have a very wonderful day.
No, thank you so much for the invitation. Yeah, I hope it everybody like it.